Good afternoon. My name is Heidi Curtes, and I'm the College and Career Counselor here at St. John's Northwestern. Welcome, and thanks for joining me. So, I have a whole list of items that I just sort of wanted to go through with you as a college counselor. There's a lot to talk about. A little introduction about myself. I just wanted to give a little bit of a background. I graduated from University of Wisconsin-Madison with a double major. And then I went back to school at Carroll University for a minor in secondary education. And then I continued on to get my master's degree at Marquette University. So I've had some tapped into the college world myself. Also, I did run track at University of Wisconsin-Madison, so I have some experience in what it's like to be an athlete in college as well. And then on from there, I've worked in the hospitality business. I'm fluent in Spanish. I was a medical interpreter. I've done international sales. I've worked for nonprofit. I started my own nonprofit and then I changed it into an LLC. My husband has a family. He's fourth generation in the trades, heating and cooling, and so I hear about all of that a lot. So I like to bring a lot of different aspects and perspectives into all of the students and give them different feedback from my own experience and just others that I'm surrounded by. So basically, my goal is to get to know these students because, as we know, none of these students are alike and they all have different ideas on what they want to do with their future. And I think that's great. So, and being that we have small class sizes and the community that we form here at St. John's Northwestern, it's really easy to do. It's fun to see these students outside of class, in their sports, even during study hall times. So, as a counselor, I really feel that I get that personalization, getting to know my students. I also have a son at Montana State University. He's a junior, and I also have another son who's going to be a senior at our local school here. And so I see the disconnect that they've had with their counselors, and I do my best to not have that disconnect going forward with my students. So every student gets individualized attention, and there is no one track that goes for each student, as they're all so different and have so many different um, ideas and thoughts and where they want to go. And my job is just to give them all the information and let them figure that out. And it's definitely a collaboration between not only myself and the student, but the parents and their families. As we know, there's split families sometimes. I work with agents, I'll work with whoever anybody wants me to work with, because again, my goal is to get the student exactly where they want to go in their future and be successful at that future. I don't want to set anybody up for failure. And so we do a lot of discovery. So the wonderful thing that we have here at St. John's Northwestern is that all of our juniors, and if some students come in late, some seniors first semester, take my college and career planning class. Personally, I think it's a great class because it really gets the student ready for their future. We do just a variety of things. So, for example, we take a lot of aptitude tests. A lot of students in their 16, 17, 18, they're not exactly sure where they want to go or what they want to do with their future. So we do a lot of different aptitude tests um, just to kind of get them a little bit more in tune to who they are and what they want to do. And I know some people have that thought like, well, they're 17 and they don't know what they want to do, but I disagree. I like to point things out like, do you like to be outside, inside? Do you want to be on the computer all day? Do you enjoy talking with people? Do you want to travel? What sort of lifestyle do you want to have? And what's it going to take to get there? So we take a lot of aptitude tests. I also have students develop what I kind of refer to as their elevator speech, because I say, if you're about to meet your parents, good friends, what are you going to say? You don't want to say, oh, hi, yeah, I watch Call of Duty and go frothing with my friends. I'm like, nope, you want to be able to tell a little bit about you or what your likes are, what activities that you've been involved with. So we really open up a lot with the who are you and what makes you unique? Because I truly believe that these students are all unique in their own ways, and I want to pull out that uniqueness and make them feel positive about that. So I start and go, what makes you so different? If we're all applying to the same school or for the same job, what makes you stick out? So I really try to help them develop their elevator speech. And I have to say, by the end of the semester, they've got it. They've got their speech. They know pretty much what they're going to say, and how they're going to be presenting themselves. One thing that here at St. John's Northwestern is our students are so polite, and they understand, they learn this outside of the classroom, to look people in the eyes, to shake hands firmly, to speak proper English. So that's nor here nor there. And we conduct different interviews as they're telling me their elevator speech. They also get into their resume. As we know, and I'll get into this a little bit later, lots of changes going on here in the college world and application processes. And so it's key that these kids have a nice, accurate, precise, grammarly perfect essay. So with me, we go and we write their essays, and I critique them and they write another essay. So at least by the time they've left my class as a junior, they've gone through an essay twice, and I'm always and have one ready to present. I'm always willing to work more. I have students that finished up at the end of this last semester and said, "Oh, I really don't even like my essay. I want to write a whole new one." I said, "Well, do it." They all have they can contact me at any time throughout the summer or whenever I make myself available to help them with whatever needs that they may have. Along with the essays that they go through and they write and we critique and talk about as their resume. I think it's important for all students to leave high school with a resume, an up-to-date resume. So whether they're applying for jobs or schools, we go through their activities. What are their most important? I make them pick 8 activities that can range anywhere from band to being in the Boy Scouts to volunteer time to their sports. It just goes on, but I have them be sure that they're able to list what their activities are in a proper manner. We also have them talk about their letters of recommendation. Again, with the change that's going on in higher education, letters of recommendation are so important, or will be so important coming up this year. And always are important. So I have them actually write a letter of recommendation about themselves so they can realize how challenging it is, and make a worksheet and discuss what do they want somebody to write their letter of recommendation about. And they then request their letters of recommendation. And then on the side, I actually read all the letters of recommendation that are sent in, because I would never want a letter of recommendation to hurt a student in any way. So I make a point of reading all of the letters of recommendation before I send them out to the colleges. So they've got their letters of recommendation all set up. They've got their resumes, their essays. We conduct different job interviews, so that they're familiar with how to have an interview or what things they should say. I have had some students actually in the last couple weeks call me and say, "Ms. Beck, can I use you as a reference for my job application at the grocery store?" So again, I'm just getting them used to how that whole procedure works. I let the students, some people say to me as a college counselor, like, where should I apply? And for me, that's really challenging because there's over 5,000 schools in just the United States, and that we have many international students who are applying to schools outside of the United States. And so my job, again, is to give them the information. So we have different search engines that I have that we spend hours and hours searching in. And I talk about things like, do you want to be in a big city or a small town? What do you want your class size to be? What extracurricular activities do you think that you may be involved with? Do you want to stay close to home? I realize all that's changing right now. I have had seniors that have just recently graduated that are changing what their plans are now due to COVID. So again, we're just trying to bring all these situations up so that students can make the best decisions with themselves and with their parents. We talk about finances. I bring in a lot of different people to talk to the students in regards to their finances, or into the military services that we could, so they can just get a glimpse of how that works. Different colleges come in and talk about their schools. But going into their back into their finances, I want to make sure that students are applying, again, discussing it with the whole family. Is this somewhere that I can go? So we have our reach schools where there's schools that maybe they don't quite have the qualifications to get in, qualifications, pardon me, to get in, but we want to make sure, but they want to apply anyway, or their fallbacks where they know they're going to get in and it's easy peasy, and then ones that they really, are just sort of undecided and aren't sure if they're able to get in to apply to. But what I want to make sure before they even start this whole application process is, what if you do get into that school? Will you be able to afford that? It breaks my heart that I had a student who really wanted to go to a particular school, spent a long time with his application, got in, and then unfortunately didn't have the finances to be able to afford to go to that school. So I just think these are all things that rather to cause more heartbreak for everybody, it's just, let's get through some of those factors beforehand. So I have people come in and work with the students on, okay, this is what things are going to cost, because as we know, well, maybe you don't know, but it's not just what's the tuition ticket price. It's also, what are the airplane tickets going to cost for you to go back and forth? What are your book fees? So there's so much to incorporate into all of that. I also have the students do, it's called the Common App, the Common Application. It's one platform where students can fill out the application and apply to over 1,000 different schools. So I force everybody to fill out that application, whether they're planning on going to a college or not, because I just think that it's good to go through the process. And again, because we're a boarding school, sometimes parents aren't always around to be able to answer these questions that the students may have. So, and sometimes families are divorced and there's custody issues, or what's address should they be at, or who they've transferred schools and what should they put. So we go through the Common App so that I know that every student knows how to fill out at least one application in regards to higher education. So we do that. And then we also fill out just a regular job application, because I try to teach them to not be too wordy, to make sure their penmanship is correct, so you can read it actually. And we just go through again some of these quirky questions that each individual may have to make sure that they're filling out their applications properly. We also hit things as these juniors and as the seniors and as they're starting to apply, their SMART goals. I want to make sure that they're going where they want to go and doing what they want to do. I understand that it's a how do I say this? It's a collaborative effort. But what is challenging for me sometimes is when I have students that say, my mom really wants me to go here. Or I've even had students not even know where they were applying because their moms, and I'm a mom, so I have to say, but it's usually the moms. The moms are saying, well, he applied here, here, and here, and the student doesn't even know where they're applying. So I have no problem talking to any parents at any time and helping. And if that's what you choose to do, is apply for your student, that's fine. But my rule is that the student needs to be involved. They need to ask me the questions and actually know where they're applying. So we go through that. We search different schools and different jobs. I have them all report on what career they think they want to do, because many of our youth nowadays say, oh, I'm going to study business and I'm going to graduate and I'm going to make $100,000 a year. And I say, not exactly. So I like to show them different videos that I find, different articles we'll read, just to kind of go through to go, okay, well, if you're going to school, let's see, let's say it's $40,000 a year. Let's say it takes you 4 to 6 years to graduate. Okay, so let's just say you spend somebody else do the math, $100,000 to $200,000 in school fees, and then you graduate, and then you're making $30,000 a year, because you don't just graduate, you can make $80,000 a year. And they all say, oh, Miss Curtes, that's not true. And so I have to prove it and read articles and show them that chances are that they're going to graduate from just a 4-year school off the back and make $80,000 is pretty slim. So I try to put things into reality for them. We've had a lot of success with our students going to lots of different great schools. Our students have received over, I think this year was like $1.3 million in scholarships. I get really excited when they come and they show me their letters of their scholarships that they've received. And even some, I'm shocked that they've received scholarships. And I've had students get scholarships that haven't even applied for scholarships or need scholarships. So there's a lot of scholarships money out there to be divvied up, and a lot of our students have received the scholarships. Um, I like to also talk about that we are not all of our students are off to college. I've been here, this is going on my third year, and so I've seen just a few years of what's been going on. But we have some students who graduate and go right into the family business. That's fine. We have some students this year who did get accepted into colleges but are deciding to take a gap year. We have some students, again, with the COVID and the changes that are going on, that have made a decision to go to one school but found out how the school is going to be handling things in the fall, and have switched and are staying closer to home. I guess if you're watching the news, that's kind of what's happening lately, or with finances and everything. So we've had great success of students getting into where they want to go. And I will go to bat for each and every one of my students, whatever it takes to get them in. But I also want them, I don't want the student coming up to me and go, oh, I didn't get into Stanford. And I'll say to them, I'm pretty straight shooter. I'll be like, well, you're currently getting a D in algebra and you're struggling with your paper. So maybe Stanford's not really the best place for you. So it's okay that you didn't get into there. So I want these students to be successful. And I had a student just probably about a month ago who really wanted to go to a school, and I don't want to be too exact because I don't want to give it away, but I ended up calling that admission counselor and I said, let him in. I really think he will do well. But then I said, I think he's a little challenged in some areas, and if he would have a private tutor or a tutor, and he was going to be in a sport, if he'd have a tutor, I really think it would work out. Well, he got in, and she called me back, the admission counselor from that school, and said, Heidi, thank you very much for your input. We did decide to accept him, but we are putting him on the track where he has to meet with or go to the tutor club, or whatever that particular school was calling it. So again, I will do whatever I can to get these kids whatever information that they can, because I want to see them succeed, and I want to see those doors open and have them have the opportunities for them. So I also am the test coordinator here at St. John's Northwestern. So we host the ACT and the SAT exams. We try to make it convenient for our students right here on campus to come on the Saturday test dates. It's kind of interesting because sometimes they fill out, because we do allow other students from the community in, but I have that where I can say, okay, hold on one second. I make the phone call. I allow 5 more people in. They can make their call right after I make my call and get in. So that's a nice feature that we're able to offer our students. And we do offer here the PSATs for 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. And starting in this fall, we are also going to be offering the PSATs for all the grade levels, as well as the ACT Aspire. In general, because we're here in Wisconsin, most of our students are taking the ACT, but we do have a large number of our international students who are taking the SAT. So I just wanted to do the best that we can to prepare our students for these standardized tests and moving forward with that. And also another part of my job has changed as the COVID. And not sure if you're aware of, but many schools are currently changing their admission process. And so I feel it's my job to stay up on what's the latest and what's going on. And so actually, most of my students have my cell phone number that they're calling and texting me to get information on what's what. But I encourage the students to go directly to their websites of those particular schools and find out what is their process. Because as far as our current juniors applying that will be starting soon and early this fall, many of the schools are postponing their standardized tests. So therefore, again, the resumes, the letters of recommendation, their essays are going to be more valuable as these schools are taking the holistic approach to get these students in. So, and as we know, that just keeps changing. So I just keep telling my students as far as what's going on with all of that and staying up to date. And they can always ask me questions throughout the summer as things are progressing and changing. As far as, you know, again, my seniors that just graduated, some of them are continuing with their plans, even though that their schools aren't even going to be having in-person classes. They're like, yeah, I'm going to start my freshman year of college in my parents' basement. And I go, well, you know, it's just kind of, that's what the times are. So at least they're getting an education. So I think that the online is working. Again, it's been hopefully, I don't even know what to say with that because it just keeps changing. So anyway, but I'm here to help and to guide all of these students into wherever it is that they want to go and whatever future they want to take. And I would love to speak with parents, guardians, grandparents, agents, people that you are also hiring to help your students. I'm willing to work and want to work collaboratively with everybody in order to make sure that your student finds the best fit for them for their future, whether it be a four-year university, technical school, a community college, taking a gap year, going into a career, going into a temporary position and seeing if they like that. I just want to see success. So I'm not sure if there's any questions, if anybody has asked any questions or opened up, just if anybody has anything to say, but you're more than willing to contact me, to email me if you watch this later. I would love to set up either a phone conversation or a Google Meets and discuss the futures of your children as they are important to you. They're just as important to me and seeing their success post St. John's Northwestern. There are not any questions. Okay, I see there are no questions. So lots of information to take in. I feel that I've covered all that I wanted to cover, and basically just again, let me just say it's an individual program. I will get to know your student. There's lots of different questions. I don't even want to bring up the questions that I've had parents ask me, but believe me, I can help you work through the whole application process on one-to-one basis and get your students. I truly believe that there is a spot for wherever your student wants to go. I've had parents come in and say, I don't even think that Joey is going to get into any college. And that's not true. Joey's going to get into a college, and it's going to be one that it's going to work well for Joey. So that's my motto. That's why I'm sticking to it. I'm here to help. I'm here to give you guys individualized attention. And again, any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, email me, and we'll set something up to talk further about your student. So thank you very much for joining me. Please be sure to tune in on Friday at noon to see Ben Peterson, our bagpipes instructor, as well as Conrad Jorgensen, our band instructor. Those two are pretty fun. Have a great day and take care. Bye-bye.